Good morning, students. I welcome you to the class of paper 8th B. And students, we are going to discuss poems by veteran Indian English poet Nissim Ezekiel in our following classes. Today we are going to discuss his literary output, the awards that he won, and we will come to know about some facts about his life very briefly. Students, the celebrated Indian English poet Nissim Ezekiel was born in the year 1924 in Bombay, that is Mumbai. He was born in a Jewish family. Students, his father was a professor of botany and his mother was a school teacher. Students, his family was a bilingual family, that is English and Marathi, both languages were spoken in his family. His parents inspired in him secular values. He had his schooling in a Catholic school in Bombay, and he did his graduation BA at Wilson College. Students, in his college days, he was very active in trade unionism and was very much interested in M.N. Roy's radical democratic movement. He completed his MA in the year 1947 in English literature. For some time, about a year, he taught English at Khalsa College, Bombay. Then he went to England to educate himself in contemporary culture. In the beginning, Ezekiel had to struggle hard for survival in city of London, and he had to do some odd jobs like washing dishes, or he also worked as a clerk in London. Despite all these things, he was able to study theatre, cinema, art, psychology, and philosophy in that city. He regularly attended poetry reading sessions, and his poems appeared in literary magazines like Poetry Quarterly. And students, it was in the year 1952 in London that his first anthology, entitled A Time to Change, was published by Fortune Press. Near about spending more than 3 years in London, Ezekiel came back to India. Here he married and after some time joined the famous magazine, the Illustrated Weekly, as an assistant editor. Thereafter, he spent 5 years working in an advertising company and a year as a manager in a factory. After some time, he was offered a professorship in Mithibai College in Bombay. In the year 1972, he became reader in English in Bombay University and later professor of American literature till his retirement in the year 1984. After his retirement, till his death in the year 2004, he suffered from occasional fits of Alzheimer's. Students, in the 1950s, no publisher in India was interested in Indian poetry in English. And due to this, Ezekiel had to publish his second book of verse under the title 60 Poems in the year 1953, followed by the third that was published in the 1953 as well. And it was very difficult for him to get them published in India at that time. The Writers' Workshop from Calcutta brought out his next two anthologies entitled The Unfinished Man in 1960 and the exact name, which according to several critics contains his most significant poems. During this period, Ezekiel continued to contribute several odd poems to various journals in India and abroad. And after a decade, that is in the year 1976, Oxford University Press, Delhi, published hymns in the anthology entitled Darkness in the year 1976, followed by Later Day Gems in the year 1982, and collected poems in the year 1989. Students, the Later Day Gems, published in the year 1982, brought him a Sahitya Academy Award. And in the year 1988, Ezekiel was honored with Padma Shri by the Government of India for his contribution to literature. The American Journal of South Asian Literature and the Journal of Indian Writing in English brought special issues devoted to his poetry in the year 1976 and 1986 respectively. And throughout his career, we have come to know through various books and articles that Ezekiel has written extensively on art, theatre, politics, and literature, but his prime interest and occupation has been poetry. Students, once he had remarked as well that to me the poetry is central and all else is peripheral. If I can't write poetry, the rest becomes meaningless. So students, this brief discussion about Ezekiel's life and his literary achievements and awards comes to an end here today, and in our following classes we will discuss his fabulous poems that are there in our syllabus. Thank you very much.